prosecutor says at that point, when they left their friend's house, I mean, we just have this black hole in the timeline. The officer knocks on the door to hospital room 715. Mackenzie's mom, Natalie, invites the officer in. There's a few other people in the hospital room. So there's Mackenzie in her cast. She's got casts on her legs, on her arms. She's in a neck brace. She's laying on the hospital bed. Mackenzie's mom, Natalie, is there. Mackenzie's dad, Steve, is there. And 2 female friends of Mackenzie are there. And they quickly leave. So now there's just a detective that walked in. Besides their visiting, I don't think they want to stick around for this. The officer starts filling out a property release form. And then that's when the doctor walks in. He's like, I walked in, I saw all these people, and then I was filling out a property release form because I came here to give the things that were found on Mackenzie's person in the crash. Her purse, cash, like these are things that he has to give back. Not the drugs, because there were drugs found, but he's not going to give those back. So he's filling out this property release form. And in the notes, he notes some very interesting exchanges. So first of all, Mackenzie's doctor walks in and Mackenzie refuses to take a shot that's going to help her with her pain, which fine, right? Second, Mackenzie gets into a full-blown argument with her dad where she kicks him out of the room. She kicks her dad out of the hospital room after cussing him out. And the officer is like noting this in his report.
She's doing all that in front of the officer?
Yeah. And this is when the detective is like, you know what? I'm just going to wait for the doctor to leave. I'm going to be in the hallway filling out the rest of these forms. And while he's out in the hallway, he starts having a conversation with Mackenzie's parents, Natalie and Steve. And he's just explaining the whole process of like, yes, we're going to, give you back this Michael Kors backpack. And there's some cash that we found as well as clothes in the car that were recovered from the crash scene. We're going to give those back. And then he writes in his report, they hear a scream from inside the hospital room. While the officer is talking to Mackenzie's parents out in the hallway, quote, Mackenzie started yelling, telling us to not talk without her being present.
Mackenzie is telling the parents not to talk?
And the police.
Without her being present?
Yeah, she's like, why are you guys talking? I mean, I don't know exactly the words, but he writes in the report, she started yelling, telling us not to talk without her being present.
That's crazy.
So the officer, Natalie and Steve Sharilla, they shuffle back into the hospital room and the officer starts detailing the search warrant and the basic nature of the entire investigation. Once he walks back into the hospital room, he is audio recording. And he lets the Sharillas know. And he explains, the search warrant lists the nature of the crime we're investigating as an aggravated vehicular homicide ×2 because 2 people were killed in the car crash. It does not mean, we're not charging you with aggravated vehicular homicide. And the officer is trying to explain that everything's really now in the hands of the county. It is the county that decides whether or not there's going to be any charges that are pressed. He says it's not the families. So it's not going to be up to Dom and Davion's families.